Hello, shamanettes, and welcome to The Beauty Shaman. So today I thought I'd talk about wrinkles, okay? If you're over the age of, I don't know, maybe 30, 40, you're starting to talk about wrinkles and think about wrinkles. So I want to talk about it from the terms of what we can do from an inner perspective and from an outer perspective, both of those that anyone can do in order to look our highest and best self. That's really my barometer, okay? My barometer is not what the beauty industry is saying and doing. I don't buy into this idea that if you're 80 years old, you need to look like you're 12, okay? I'm being silly, but I think they're ridiculous. That is not my standard. My standard is my standard. What makes me feel beautiful? And it should be yours too. What makes you feel beautiful? When you look in the mirror, what do you love about yourself? Now, having said that, I think we all want to take great care of ourselves and we all want to look as good as we can. I love that. And that's where this is stemming from. Okay. That's what this discussion is stemming from. So I'm going to talk about some really practical things that we can do. And in the end, I will hit on the things that cost a lot more money that really is up to choice. I don't tend to dwell on those sorts of things. I tend to really dwell on the things that are affordable and the things that we can do in a practical sense. Okay, so before we get started, please be sure to visit my website at thebeautyshamanstore.com and also hit the subscribe button here in order to be notified every time I upload a video. All right, let's get going. Okay, so in our discussion about wrinkles and what to do, I do want to give you about 1 minute of a history lesson about the skincare industry. So the skincare industry really got going with Helena Rubinstein. It might be Rubinstein. In any case, Helena Rubinstein is the one who basically said, hey, I'm going to create some nice moisturizers and I'm going to sell them to ladies. So she started formulating things in her kitchen sink. The problem was in her era, and this was like turn of the century, 1900s, women really didn't use moisturizer. They didn't go out and buy creams and things like that. The only women who actually did all of that were prostitutes, but she didn't want her audience to be prostitutes. So she basically started selling to her friends and other women. So it all started sort of in the kitchen sink. And she wanted this to be an idea. And this was a great marketing strategy of, hey, I own this cream and it shows I have money. Because if you didn't own that cream, and you didn't wear that cream and you didn't look like those women, then it showed a discrepancy in your wealth status, which is very interesting that idea has really carried forward. So that idea is really what the industry was built upon. It was not built upon anti-aging. Anti-aging is a very modern day idea, as early as the 1990s. That's kind of when the anti-aging sort of phenomenon started to hit all of us. And I think it was a very detrimental thing to older women, because suddenly, if you don't take care of your wrinkles, if you don't do something, then it shows, where you're at and demographically with your income. It also shows you don't care about yourself and your man's going to dump you for a younger woman. I mean, this whole thing really took off. This is really unhealthy, okay? This is a very, very toxic idea. I don't like the word anti-aging. I hate talking about it. However, it is the key word that all of you and me use in our search engines on Google in order to look up information. So that's why I use it and refer to it. However, I want you to know I have the strong distaste for it. So if we can get away from the idea of buying youth in a bottle, because I don't like this idea, instead, we're getting to is how can I take the best care of myself? How can I be my highest and best self in all areas, inner and outer? Not just I want to look one way and I'm going to feel totally different on the other side. Right? We want to really have a nice merging of how we see ourselves, our self-love, our happiness level, and how we take care of ourselves externally. The idea of anti-aging, like I said, is a very modern idea. We have things like thinning skin, osteoporosis, spots. We get a little hunched over. We end up having heart issues. It's all a biochemical process, aging, right? The bottom line for aging, and remember this is very, very key. The bottom line to aging is a deterioration of the connective tissue. That's what actually causes aging. So the idea with taking great care of ourselves is to build connective tissue. And we're going to talk about some strategies how to do that. But that is the bottom line for looking our highest and best self. Okay, I'm going to frame it that way rather than anti-aging, but that is the bottom line to it. If that's your goal, okay, if that's your goal. Now, if that's not your goal, then you can just buy, you can go to Walgreens and buy a brand called Dr. Botanicals. It's a great line. beautiful, beautiful line, not expensive, great just kind of for everyday use. It's not going to give you anti-aging. There's a lot of lines like that. And that's great. And I think that's fabulous. If you're interested in anti-aging, then I would say listen on. So the question is, what breaks down connective tissue and what can we do to build it back up? Okay, so the breakdown in connective tissue is caused by lack of, interestingly, oxygen. Because all of us breathe. But what I'm talking about is exercise, getting more oxygen into your system, getting outside, going on I love to walk and run and I bike ride. So those are my ways to get more oxygen, but really doing physical exercise, building our collagen. We're going to talk about some great techniques for doing that. If we get too toxic, I think toxicity is a huge issue when it comes to connective tissue. Our world today gives us 60%. There are 60% more toxins in our food and water and air than there was 30 to 40 years ago. It's crazy. Just the huge quantity of toxins that our bodies just aren't built in order to deal with. I mean, our bodies are built in order to get rid of a certain amount of toxins. But now we're so inundated, our bodies can't handle it. And it causes a certain amount of diseases and illnesses and problems that we didn't have 30 to 40 years ago. I think you can totally agree with me on that. Why do we have all these really weird diseases? One of the reasons, not entirely, but one of the reasons is just the sheer quantity of toxicity in our environment. So cleaning out your body, getting rid of those, eating a really healthy diet, we'll get to that. Also, malnourishment is a huge cause. And I mean getting nutrients. So eating organic fruits and vegetables. Now, I know we're getting into some things that are a little bit more pricey here. And I do want to tell you, I realize this, especially now we have huge inflation. It's early 2022, and it's only going to go up. So how do we mitigate the cost of what we're buying and still get the nutrients we need? That's for another video, but I do think it's an important question. I want to bring it up to let you know I'm very aware of what's going on in the world. However, malnourishment is not getting the nutrients that we need, which is why I'm big on supplements, and we'll talk about supplements. Really, when we're talking about having enough nutrients, it's about building your internal levels of nutrition by using essential fatty acids, silica, vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, both internally and externally, vitamin A, protein, eating enough protein for some of us, that's a huge issue. Bone broth is awesome, that sort of thing. So those are some of the issues that we're going to touch on. The number one enemy of connective tissue that causes the greatest amount of deterioration, can any of you guess? I would love to have you write down below and say, I knew what that was. The number one enemy of connective tissue is sugar. Sugar. If you watch my videos, you know I harp on this. Having said that, I had a cookie last night because, sometimes you just need a freaking cookie, right? But I think being able to take our sugar, the amount of sugar that we eat, and make it as less as possible, really getting that drive, sugar, we get that way about sugar and caffeine. It becomes almost an addiction. So there are ways to lessen that. I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but there are some great strategies for that. Chromium picolinate, I'll just throw that out there. That's a great nutritional supplement. Chromium picolinate. That really helps to mitigate sugar cravings. Oop, that's a freebie. Okay, so we know what wrinkles are. We know what causes them. What are some of the internal things we can do in order to strengthen the stratum corneum? So one of the main things that we can do is vitamin C. I knew you knew I was going to say that. Y'all were like, she's going to say vitamin C. I knew it. All right, so this is the brand I like. If you look down below, I have a link to my Amazon page. You can go there and you can shop these. 1,000 milligrams. I end up taking between 4,000 and 5,000 a day of just vitamin C. Your body does not make vitamin C, so you need to take it. It has the biggest impact on your skin and general health is taking high quantities of vitamin C, which your body doesn't need, it eliminates. Just get on some good vitamin C. The second thing internally I would say is super omegas. So I take this one, it's by now as well. It's 369s. This is 1,200 milligrams. I take 2 of these in the morning, 2 of these at night. And if I notice my skin is dry, like it's been really, really cold here. It was like 8 degrees last night. I'll go ahead and take another one just because, I just don't like that feeling of getting up and like, oh, your skin just gets so like charred almost, right? It's so dry. And taking the omegas really helps. I also take organic flax oil. I put this in my breakfast food, about a tablespoon. I can also add more in the evening if I notice that my skin is still dry. The skin is the canary in the coal mine, right? If your skin's dry, it's actually a sign. Okay, I need to, up my oils or my water intake, which is another great subject, is water. Drinking a lot of water really helps with that hydration. Also with elimination, getting rid of the toxins. Since we've talked about toxins, water's phenomenal. Okay, another great internal strategy is bone broth. So I love this company. This is called Beauty in the Broth. This comes to your door. This is bone broth. You can make your own bone broth. You can go buy bone broth. This particular brand delivers it in a box, as much as you want, at your door, and you reconstitute it. It's delicious. I love these. I love having this as a snack, like just some bone broth with maybe a little bit of a protein in it. Like, it's just so good and so easy too. And that really helps to get in there because it contains collagen to really build up your connective tissues. You can also take collagen in smoothies. That's another great strategy. I've done videos on that. I would definitely recommend that. I'll put that in the corner. I would also really recommend eating high quantities of vegetables. I eat a lower quantity of fruit personally because of the high sugar in fruit. But vegetables, you can kind of go to town, have as much as you want. If you can, buy organic vegetables. It makes such a difference, not just flavor-wise, but also the amount of nutrients you're going to get from that. I would say 4 cups a day of vegetables. I don't hit that most of the time, I'll be honest with you. I try to, but sometimes it's like, I can't eat another leaf. Okay, so let's talk about external things that you can do for wrinkles. Now, none of these are quick fixes. Everything I'm talking about is a lifestyle change. We will get to quick fixes at the end of the video. Right now, we're going to talk about lifestyle, and in particular, what you can do externally to your skin. Okay, one of the main things you can do externally to your skin is exfoliating off the dead skin cells so that you can get a higher penetration of fat-soluble vitamin C and vitamin A so that they can penetrate the stratum corneum, which is the surface level of your skin, into the lower layers of your skin. And the way to do that, the way to get the vitamin C, fat-soluble vitamin C and vitamin A deeper into the stratum corneum is through sort of damaging the top of your skin. Now, it sounds really weird. A lot of you are like, I don't want to damage my skin. But the idea is you want exfoliation, you want cell turnover. In order to do that, the best thing to do is to exfoliate. And exfoliation is basically like a damaging of the top layer of your skin. Things like using alpha hydroxy acids can do that. Chemical peels can do that. Using microdermabrasion can do that. This is the one I use. It's a home care microdermabrasion little machine here. You can get this on Skin Store. I'll put a link down below. This costs like $200. So again, a little bit more pricey. But this helps to basically take that top layer, all that dead skin, and remove it. I've done a video on it. Again, I'll put that in the corner. You can also go to an esthetician. I'm an esthetician as well as a makeup artist. I've gone to estheticians and had that done in an office. They have their own machines, which are definitely more powerful than something like this. I'm just sharing this because it's sitting in front of me. It's a great example. But if you want to go to an esthetician, that's a great thing. If you do that every month, you will notice a huge difference because after you exfoliate your skin with something like that, or a peel, or microneedling also is another way. It damages the skin. And then after you damage it, topically, you put vitamin C and vitamin A onto the skin that is formulated to go beneath your skin, and it gets it deeper down. You will notice a dramatic difference if you do it consistently. I think the first year I did microdermabrasion, this technique, I probably took about 10 years, 8 to 10 years off of my face. It was really dramatic. And then I've since maintained it. And it just helps everything stay softer looking on your skin. And it just helps your skin wrinkles to soften, which I love. I don't want to do away with them personally. I want to look, I'm an older woman. I like that, okay, personally. But I do think it minimizes, which is what most of us are looking for. If you want to get rid of them completely, stay tuned. Okay, topically, another tried and true method is to use microcurrent machines. You can do this at an esthetician's office. They use a microcurrent machine that gets in and strengthens up the muscles in your face, and that will automatically soften down wrinkles. I have a home machine here. This is one that Truth Treatments makes. I use this probably 3 or 4 times a week when I remember. I tend to be really bad at consistency, not my strong point. Having said that, I think using one of these or at an esthetician's office, New Skin also makes one. You'll find that on my Amazon store. That used consistently, all of these things used consistently, you will really notice a difference in your fine lines and wrinkles. All right, so of course, using great skincare topically does make a difference. There's different price points. So probably the middle of the road product that I really like, that I often recommend to people, is by Image Skincare. So this is their Vital C line. This is the moisturizer. I'm a big Image Skincare fan. I think they put out some really good products. I would consider their products to be more mainstream products. Okay, they're not too expensive. They work. You know, they're good products. They're good, solid products. I do like this particular line, the Vital C line. The line that I use, that I constantly talk about, is Truth Treatments. This is like my thing, because I've been using it now for probably the last 5 years. I've noticed a huge difference on my skin having used that. So I do recommend it. It is definitely more pricey. The number one one, this looks really loved, but this is my transdermal C serum. If there's any product you buy, just get the transdermal C serum. I think it's the best C serum on the market. It has 80% vitamin C, the top premium type of vitamin C in it that is phenomenal, really gets down beneath the stratum corneum. You know, I use it every day. I use 2 drops a day. It's great. I would say there's lots of vitamin C's on the market. I've done a whole video on vitamin C's. Again, I'll put that in the corner. I do think it is probably the number one ingredient in skincare. If you're going to spend money, I would spend it on that. Everything else, you can go less expensive. If you've got the money, I would definitely get the transdermal C serum, biomimetic mist, and also the hyaluronic mineral hydrator from Truth Treatments. They work wonders on plumping up the skin. Having said that, there's lots of great skincare lines out there. You know, I would just read the ingredient label. Be sure the label is under 25. I would say 1 to 15 would be the max amount of ingredients. And you're looking for the real active ingredients to be higher up on the deck in order to really buy a product that's going to do anything at all. If it's got 50 ingredients, it's not going to do very much. The active ingredients are drowned out by all the other fillers that are in there, which you don't really need, okay? You really only need the active ingredients along with some emolliency. Okay, so lastly, we're going to talk about quick fixes. I'm not against them, by the way. I do have many women who come in to the studio where I work who say, you know, I just had my Botox or my filler injections, whatever. I'm not against any of that. What I feel, though, is that beauty is a health issue. You can't just do the quick fixes and not take care of your body internally, because the quick fixes won't last. And maybe they'll look good for a little bit, but in the end, you're going to go right back to where you started. So I think what's great about taking great care of yourself, using great products, everything I've talked about today, is that these are things that really over time really help you feel great, look great. And then if you want to go get a quick fix, go ahead. Just don't think the quick fix is a replacement for taking great care of your body in the methods that I've talked about. I hope this has been helpful. Please write down below. I'd love to hear what you think about what I said, any opinions, thoughts you might have. I really appreciate hearing from you. I want to make content that's relevant for all of you. Thank you so much for watching The Beauty Shaman. Have an awesome, healthy day.